Welcome back, vintage gamers, to the I'm actually level 1 channel. It has been just a crazy 4 or 5 weeks since we have stopped posting videos, which was not something I wanted to do, but it has been, I made the best of it. It's been a nice little break. I haven't really had a break from doing Magic content in quite a few years. I've been trying to make sure I upload, 3 videos a week, get a couple streams in. So this was a nice step away for a little while, but we are going to get back and making content again shortly. Just going to go over what I'm expecting to do for the channel moving forward. I got a couple different goals to set, a couple different projects I want to get completed before Eternal Weekend. As well as I'll do a little bit of like a vlog style life update with the various things that were going wrong with myself and an update on those. So the bottom line is we're back next week. You should start seeing videos again. And if that's all you need to know, then you're good here. If you want to hear a little bit more, stick around and we'll talk about what we're going to do for videos right now. So for me, what I would like to do right now is I want to make an updated video of the everything you need to know about Vintage, the metagame update. That video is it's only a couple months old now, but it's already out of date. Obviously, with the restriction of Urza Saga and Vexing Bauble, the metagame has shifted slightly, at least in terms of classifications. It has shifted quite a bit. We do have a new set of data classifications already being in use. Then there's a whole new data sheet. We were able to basically archive the Saga data and start a fresh sheet. This actually solves some of the issues we were having with maximum spreadsheet sizing. So we're fixing that issue, or not fixing that issue, we're postponing that issue to another date. But it should be plenty of years down the road. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and I have new data classifications, to try to remove Saga from the classifications and then do some larger scale updates on classifications that we couldn't do before because of the amount of, the sheer size of the historical data we would have to move. With it not being in a database right now, it's still something I want to do. I want to move it to a database at some point. It's not exactly super easy when I had, 2-3 years of data to change. So that's what we're going to do. We have a whole new classification system. We got the Lurrus decks pulled out. So the Lurrus Breach, Lurrus PO are separated from, normal Breach and PO decks. Lurrus decks are a bit more granular. So Blue, Black, and Esper are separated. They do have different matchup spreads. So it's definitely worthwhile to separate those from each other. Added a couple different, smaller archetypes like Eldrazi, Merfolk, things that people will see. Red Prison. So this way we have a better sense of what's going on in the format. I've separated jewel shops from sphere shops in a pretty distinct way. And so I'm pretty happy with the whole data thing going forward. But we do need a new video for especially for people who are going to play Eternal Weekend for the first time in the coming months. I want to have a new metagame overview video. To go along with the metagame overview video, there's a video series I'd like to revisit back maybe a couple years ago now, during the last Mana Traders qualifiers, back when they were having qualifiers from the Mana Traders event. I did an A to Z challenge where I played every deck in Vintage in the Mana Traders qualifiers, and I would basically play a deck until I got a win. And then I would move on to the next deck, and I ended up doing really, really well. I had like a 70-80% win rate with every deck in the format, combined. So I thought that was a really cool idea, and I wanted to morph it into something maybe a little bit more manageable. I would like to make an A to Z series, more of an introductory series. I want to basically do a 5 to 10 minute deck intro talking about, a stock list on what the deck is trying to do, how the deck plays into the format, and then I'm going to do a one match video where not a win or a loss, but just like a good match. So I probably will end up recording, a couple matches here and there, and then picking one that, showcases the deck really well. And that way we can have, 10 to 20 videos that are an introduction to Dredge, an introduction to Initiative. That way we can point, people who come to the channel who want to learn about a format, want to learn about a deck, want to try to, get a starting foot, forward on a deck, and that will be on the channel. So That will be a little hard to do, and might be a little bit time consuming. I expect I will do it off stream. I'll do it not live. That way I have a little bit more flexibility in finding opponents. I think it's something I'll probably do on the Daybreak account. That's actually a really nice place where I could, play 2 matches, play 3 matches, play however many matches I need to get a good video, and then drop from the league and start another deck. That way I can churn out a bunch of these. I would really like to get every deck having an introductory video before Eternal Weekend in the States. Now, that was a really feasible plan two weeks ago. But obviously I haven't had the computer working until just now. So we'll see if we can actually get that fully set up. In terms of streaming, I am going to continue to do 2 streams a week guaranteed. I want to do a Wednesday night stream where it's more exploratory, more creative, trying to build new and interesting things. And then I'll do a Saturday or a Friday challenge stream where I'm trying to win. Obviously, I want to win with the Wednesday stream, but the Wednesday stream, it should be more acceptable to be branching out and trying more creative stuff. That's usually where I was doing donation deck lists, and we should talk about that as well. Obviously, during the last 4 weeks, donation deck lists started piling up, and I actually unlisted the donation tier on the Patreon. I told people, please get off the donation tier. I can't make any videos right now. So I do have about 10 to 15 donation deck lists that I owe, and I will be making videos for. But after we work through that backlog, and I don't know how fast I'll be able to get through the backlog if we're going to be doing A to Z videos and trying to get back in shape for Eternal Weekend, especially with me going away to Eternal Weekends. But I will get through all the donation deck lists that have been paid for already. So those will probably appear on Wednesday streams. I have to talk to the various people who have donations queued up. I have at least one video that I haven't posted already from the previous stream, the Vampires video. So I will put that up sometime in the next week or so. And then I'll have to ask Gary what he wants from his second video. But I do think that I will probably be reevaluating donation deck lists as a whole going forward. They were quite time consuming, and obviously the price was already, in my opinion, kind of high. I set the price because that is the price people were going to pay, and if I set it any lower, I would end up with too many donation deck lists, and I wouldn't be able to fulfill them. So, supply and demand. But even though that's probably the most profitable part of the whole content creation setup, I think I'm probably going to either scale back or reconsider the idea of donation deck lists as a whole going forward until maybe we reach a different place. I'd like to just be able to do decks and streams and videos of things that I'm interested in, and hopefully make the best content for all of you. That being said, I am still running the Patreon. That is probably the best way to support the content. If you are interested in a metagame update, I do a weekly blog post, I guess, a written post, where I get the numbers for you, and I tell you how I feel about the numbers, if these things are making sense, what people should be doing, and give some recommendations for the next week of play. So if that's something that interests you, that's on the $5 tier on the Patreon, and there's also a $2 tier if you just want to support me. And Twitch, eats all the, takes more than half, takes half. It's a lot. So Patreon is typically a more friendly way to do that. I do think I want to expand the Patreon at some point and make more content there that people can access, but I haven't decided anything in that realm right now. So that's that. I have the introductory video and then the A to Z videos. Those are the big things I want to get done. The big reason I want to get them done in the near future is because Eternal Weekend is coming. Eternal Weekend is next month. I think even Japan's Eternal Weekend is very soon, if not this weekend. I have flights booked for Pittsburgh, Eternal Weekend NA, Four Seasons in Italy, and Eternal Weekend Europe in Prague. So I will be playing 3 back-to-back weekends of Eternal Paper Magic. I expect to be playing Legacy and Vintage. I do need to play some Legacy and find a Legacy deck, but the Magic community has been very helpful and awesome in the past in helping me acquire Legacy decks for these tournaments. So I'm hopeful that will work out. Vintage, I do need to play. I haven't played very much Vintage in the last 4 weeks. I wanted it to be a full break from Magic, and from streaming and from content. And I've been, mostly just playing TFT actually. I was as high as rank 250 on the US ladder, and I was trying to qualify for a pro tournament before a very bad stretch of matches knocked me out of contention for that. So I almost was there. We were almost at that point, but it was a nice little break from what was going on. In terms of a life update, in terms of how am I doing? Good, good. I had surgery a few weeks back now, to remove the melanoma in my leg. Big, huge cut up of my leg, took a chunk out of my leg, and from what we can tell from the reports, it hadn't spread out of that area, and we have removed all of the cancer in my right leg. So obviously, I'm going to still have to be very careful moving forward, and I'm going to do a lot of different checkups and monitoring of the various moles around my body, so that hopefully we can catch any more that could happen. Obviously, I'm much more at risk now of it resurfacing, but in terms of the cancer that was in my leg, that was thankfully caught early enough and that didn't spread, and I should be able to just keep going on and living life like normal. So thank you everyone who reached out and was supportive during that. It's obviously not something you expect to happen as a fit, healthy 31-year-old guy. But anything can happen at any time, and just another hurdle we had to go through. So like I said in the initial post about it, you should get your annual and checkups. You should go to a dermatologist and make sure that everything is okay. Because if I hadn't gone in a long time, and if I had waited longer to see a dermatologist, it could have been a lot worse. And so people have reached out and said they have actually scheduled appointments because of what I posted, which I think is really one of the best possible outcomes from this whole thing, is that not only should I should be fine, but other people can get tested early enough too. So in general, things are going pretty well over here. And I am excited and rejuvenated to make some new vintage content in this new format. Obviously, you probably could have seen from my posts, I don't think these restrictions went very well for vintage as a whole. But that's more of a personal opinion, and it's not catastrophic. Vintage is certainly chugging on with, Lurrus is the best deck, and all of the same metagame players are still around, just with slightly different win rates than they were before, and obviously slightly different meta shares than were before. And I'll talk about all of that more in the upcoming Everything You Need to Know video. Yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about for now. This video should come out Friday morning at the normal time. I expect to try to stream the Friday Vintage Challenge and the Saturday Vintage Challenge to try to rejuvenate my way and get the juices flowing again, get the mind racing. And that means you should expect challenge videos next week on Monday and Wednesday. And at some point I will throw in, it might be off cadence like a Tuesday or Thursday, I will throw in that vampires video that was recorded before the PC went down. I guess I haven't really talked about the PC. I'll give a little update about what happened with the PC. From what we can tell during Wednesday's stream, that Wednesday stream, which is now many weeks ago, the CPU, the computer crashed, and I tried to reboot it, and I could not get the computer to reboot. The computer would not get to BIOS on any screen, and that led to a rabbit hole of testing. As some of you may know, I'm a computer engineer. My degree is in computer engineering. I work more of a computer science and coding job right now, but I've been building my own PC for over 10 years, and I have background in PC parts and that kind of thing. So we tested everything. We made sure the screen was working with another computer, and then we just started, unplugging different parts of the configuration. Get the CPU, get the GPU out first, and then try different RAM configurations. And I tried everything. The first thing we thought was that the motherboard was the problem. It wasn't posting because of the motherboard. I ordered another motherboard, and that also had the same problem. Kept moving forward, changing different things, and eventually, you used a different power supply. Eventually, came to the conclusion that the CPU was shot, and I sent the CPU back to the manufacturer, where they processed it really quickly. But then they had a shortage in replacement parts. They had a shortage of parts in general because right now the same CPU on Amazon is double the price that it was when I bought it. So I was kind of forced to wait until the manufacturer sent back a new fixed CPU. Sent back a new fixed CPU at the beginning of this week, and it didn't boot, and I was livid. I just couldn't look at the computer anymore, so I brought it over to a shop. Turns out that in my I was not as thorough after getting the new CPU as I was previously, and I just put the RAM in slots 2 and 4 instead of slots 1 and 3, or the ones not closer to the CPU. So just having the RAM in the wrong slots on the rebuild made it so it wouldn't boot. So just cleaning those out and reseating them and putting them in the right slots, and we're back up and running now. Obviously, the RAM wasn't the problem in the original problem. It's just I was not as thorough when I got the new CPU in. But thankfully, it's booted. It's running now. Everything should be back up to date, and I should just be able to get going again. So, if you are interested in vintage content on this channel, we should see new vintage videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.